I'm Daniel Wright, the Chief Marketing Officer of C-Enable, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to our Women in Crypto for Boards online event, Breaking Barriers, Unlocking Potential. Thank you for joining us today to support this critical conversation on leadership, diversity, and inclusion in crypto. First formed in 2022 as one of the first executive search firms set up in the crypto industry, C-Enable has managed and maintained a 100% success rate on every search assignment, offering a guaranteed retained solution that secures top-tier talent for board and C-suite roles and beyond. In addition to executive searches at the highest levels, we have also placed senior leadership roles a level or two below, including sales and marketing directors, heads of platforms, heads of insights, and specialized technical positions, ensuring exceptional talent matches across the organizations. We value referrals, offering a 20% fee for successful introductions to new clients, and our talent consultancy services further support organizations with retention, team dynamics, and governance guidance, along with career coaching for leaders. Today's initiative, Women in Crypto for Boards, is close to our hearts because we see an opportunity to address the gender disparity in crypto boardrooms. As you all probably know far too well, despite the fast-paced revolutionary nature of the crypto industry, women remain vastly underrepresented in executive and board positions. By working to elevate more women into these critical roles, we're not only promoting gender equity, but also strengthening the industry with the invaluable insights, perspectives, and experiences women bring. I would now like to hand over to Michal, our Head of Events, so we can go through the program with you, and I hope you all enjoy what we have to share.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Michal, Head of Events at C-Enable, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our today's event. I would like to start by sharing how much I enjoy working alongside the incredibly talented events and projects team at C-Enable. Together, we are committed to creating impactful experiences like this one. In addition to my role as the head of events, I am also the senior executive search associate, actively engaged in crypto assignments on a daily basis, which gives me a deep understanding of the industry we are here to discuss. So our program today is designed to inspire, educate, and connect aspiring female leaders in the crypto world. We've only just begun pushing this initiative forward this year, and we truly believe that our efforts will help women unlock their potential and pave the way for a more diverse and inclusive future in the crypto industry. We hope that our work here will make a tangible difference, and we are driven by the vision of creating events that are not only meaningful, but also become some of the most awaited gatherings in the whole industry. We've had incredible success with our in-person events in the UK and in the USA this year, and we encourage you to check out our social media to see highlights and learn more about those experiences. So today's program will begin with an inspiring keynote to set the tone for today's discussion, followed by an engaging and diverse panel featuring leaders who have paved the way in their fields. They will share their experiences and insights on securing board positions, leading in the crypto world, and making meaningful contributions to our rapidly evolving industry. We'll also feature a special talk that looks ahead to the future of this dynamic cryptosphere. So yeah, thank you all for being part of this journey towards a more inclusive and dynamic crypto industry. Let's get started by handing over to Alexandra Overgaag, the CEO of Thrilled Labs, for her keynote talk. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, both Daniel and Michael, for this wonderful introduction. I have just joined now as the speaker, so I will just take 1 second to actually share the screen, and then time will tell if actually this keynote is going to be inspirational, yes or not. I definitely hope so. So let me actually just share the screen now. Just a second, everyone, because I did prepare a little bit of a small presentation. I will keep this within 15 minutes. So yes, first of all, as I said, many thanks for welcoming me. My name is Alex. I am Dutch in terms of my background, but I live in Italy since about 10 years now. And today, actually, considering the very topic of today's talk, women leading, breaking barriers as well, I wanted to share partially a little bit of a personal story, but of course, we also want tangible insights, right? Or at least a couple of aha moments at the very least. So we'll be speaking a little bit about the job market, a little bit about business in Web3 and my personal take on that as the founder and CEO of Thrilled Labs. And indeed, also a couple of words I would love to share about entrepreneurship in the Web3 space. So let's get started. Maybe of interest is that I personally joined the Web3 industry initially, back then more of a crypto industry, as a trader in 2017. By education, I am actually a lawyer and political scientist. And I would perhaps argue that indeed I was kind of like trained to join what I might call the legacy institutions. Not that there's anything wrong with legacy institutions. I love law, I love politics. But what I did discover over time, wanting to become initially an AI researcher a couple of years ago, is that the impact of tech, right, is so profound on today's society. And so many things can be achieved through technological innovation and progress, really, all over the board. And slowly onboarding crypto and diving into that rabbit hole, as we're always saying, from 2017 onwards. Really, a couple of years later, I realized, okay, I want to work in this wonderful blockchain crypto industry, even though I didn't have a tech background back then. So long story short, I managed to onboard the industry thanks to a female program organized by the Frankfurt School Blockchain Center that really teaches women how to onboard the industry. Can very much recommend you to check it out if you're looking, to put your first footsteps in this industry. But then what happened is that after I accepted my first job, so we're speaking about 2020, 2021 here, in the industry, it was a business development job at a UK blockchain startup, really wonderful company, still out there today, doing very, very well. Basically, after 1 week, me and my mom, you can see here her actually at one of the pictures over there as I bring her from time to time to crypto events. We got a very bad news, actually, that my stepdad got sick again. Fundamentally, it was told to us that he was really, really ill and that he was going to die. And indeed, that happened over the months that were continuing, right? That were then following. And that hit me quite honestly, it hit me really, really hard. Not also because my mom got sick at the very same time, also cancer, but also because I lost my, let's say, real dad to also cancer in my early 20s. So I'm not sharing this, to be, over sharing too much information with you. I'm actually sharing this because it touches upon the core of what I then did with Thrilled Labs. That is really setting my own journey as a founder in this industry. Because whilst I was continuing in that job, despite the difficult situation, right, in this blockchain startup and everything that was happening privately, again, not sharing too much information, but just to get the idea, is that I observed a lot of issues in how we are doing business with one another today in the Web3 industry. And when I say Web3 industry, I mean the crypto, the blockchain industry. Web3 really used as an umbrella term, right? Comprehending all these different technologies out there that are, developing in a decentralized manner. And long story short, it was actually my stepdad. That is the point that I want to make. It was him who in his last days really encouraged me and said, Alex, you can do a lot more than you're doing today. I believe in you, go after your own path in life. And that was very, groundbreaking to me. And that actually put me on the path on my own startup journey. And today I have actually, managed to raise capital. With Thrilled Labs, we have a global team. And without getting too much into the details of everything that we're doing as a company, what is maybe only important to mention is that we have built a free and open access business platform. Really think Tinder meets LinkedIn. And also we partner up with events all across the world that really what we do is facilitating connections between people that are professionally involved with the crypto and Web3 industry. Because I was really hoping with this platform that we're now expanding to really bring people together, but to also allow people to find each other more easily. And that actually ties in the why of that with the rest of today's talk, following on this, rather long prologue, so to say. So I promise no more information regarding my person, but really let's talk a little bit more substantially, right? About business, about data, about what we as women can do as well in this industry. Now, I don't know if those of you that are watching right now, if you already work in the industry, however you're involved, but I think that we can all agree on the very fact that there's massive opportunity, right? Of course, Bitcoin at this very moment, maybe some of you are watching the chart, it's literally, trading at all-time high. But of course, more profoundly, this industry is growing, right? Bull market, bear market, slowly it is, however, or rapidly growing. There's tens of thousands of companies out there that are serving the Web3 industry more directly or more indirectly. There's hundreds of thousands, and that is also rapidly growing, professionals as well, who serve the industry with products, with services. Maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you are looking for your first job in the industry as a marketeer, or maybe in business, or maybe as a developer, maybe as a trainee. It very much depends on your individual background, but most of you will probably relate to this, as it is a very rapidly increasing industry. Now you wonder, what is the issue here then, right? Web3 is brilliant. Yes, it's wonderful. I agree. However, what I observed during that first job, but also today as a founder, right, trying to do business, trying to increase your company, trying to raise capital, is that there is a massive paradox out there, at least in my opinion, right? If we think about Web3 and its very core, its ethos, we always think about, open access, about peer-to-peer connections, about transparency, about merit-based value and growth. However, what I've observed is that there's massive barriers to entry. For instance, when I was trying to land that first job in the space, I had no idea how. As a first person in my family who went to university, I didn't have any connections in the tech industry whatsoever. I wasn't sure how to onboard it. And that is in many, many different ways. We see these barriers to entry, not only depending or relying upon who you are, but also where you're based fundamentally and who you know in this industry. So if you maybe can take one thing away, especially if you're a little bit more new to this industry, right? From a business perspective, what I would really like to highlight here is that your network and that trust, right? Also trust in a fundamentally trustless or supposedly trustless industry are so important. And there are two aspects that I want to tap into a little bit more. First of all, as I said, who you are in this industry, what I've observed is really, really important. It impacts your chances for success, so you will. And that is by itself also a little bit of a paradox, right? If we think about a very, at least open access type of environment, right? I do think that blockchain as a technology, ultimately it's a merit-based environment. Everyone in theory has equal chances to use the technology. It's empowering as well, right? For us as women, but also for individuals more globally, right? It spurs our financial agency. It spurs our rights, our various opportunities out there, our freedom. So you can even argue. But then depending on who you are fundamentally, and also to an extent where you're based, that very much impacts your chances for success. And just one thing that I would quickly like to mention here is, sorry, I was just receiving a call. Something that I would quickly like to mention here is that, right, those data that you see out there. Now, I'm not 100% sure if they're still fully accurate. It might be they are a couple of months old, actually. But what we can deduct from these things here is that, of course, we see less women in our industry, but also raising capital as a female founder and generally having female CEOs, they're way less. Alongside that, I would also argue that as a woman out there, especially if you put yourself out there, maybe on social media or on bigger media platforms that I do from time to time, you also really get a little bit of scrutiny over yourself from time to time, especially nasty comments from people. Of course, that happens to everyone from time to time, but it is important to realize that who you are and what you look like, not only as a woman or not woman or however you identify, but also where you're based. For instance, where you live, if you know those right people, if you have access to internet, if you have access to, stable electricity, all these types of things do impact our chance for success. So, of course, alongside that, there is the who you know kind of factor, right? This is something that really surprised me. Maybe I was naive, could be, but it's very much like a friend of mine told to me a little while ago. She runs a venture capital firm. And by now I know her many years. I couldn't even imagine knowing people like that. But she also said, like in Web3, warm introductions, right? So the introductions that people make for you so that you have a little bit of a, soft landing with someone. that is so important for really getting to know the right people that can help you move forward with your business or with your individual trajectory, whatever it is that you're after, and really impact your chances for success, right? And that is also something that I feel is very, very paradoxical given the nature of this space. The idea is that everyone is helping one another, that we're globally, interrelated and interconnected, and that is very much true. But if you don't know the right people, especially in the beginning of your journey, and I very much faced that, that can be a massive barrier, something to overcome through lots of different ways. And there are solutions for that. We're getting to that in a second. So without us having to go into detail of this image out there, that is actually coming from a book chapter that was published from my hand last year. What I would just very much like to say is that in any type of business environment, and I guess with any type of social structure in general, right, we see that there's massive power dynamics involved. A lot of people in the industry have differing interests that changed over time, right, depending on what your beliefs are, what you're out for, what type of job you have, what type of positions you have. Because indeed, another thing to take into account is that something that I didn't initially realize is that in the Web3 industry, lots of people wear different hats, if you want to say so. So it can be that, an investor in your company is actually also a startup founder, him or herself. It can be that maybe in a few months from now, that person doesn't invest anymore, but actually acts as a consultant in the industry, or as a broker, maybe, right? Maybe they're trying to cut deals between different entities out there and try to take a cut out of that deal. Now, not to say that we must always be suspicious of what people are doing, but I think, us at a minimum, being aware of that who you are matters, that who you know matters, but that also it very much matters whom you're speaking with and what type of interests, beliefs, and meanings they're carrying with them. That very much is important, I think, to keep in mind from a business perspective. And it can be, again, if you're growing your company, if you're working for a company, maybe you're a freelancer, or maybe you are reaching out for advice to someone just so that they can help you land your first job, for instance. And of course, the organizer of today's event is an excellent entity to reach out to. I must say that they're super professional and whatnot, so highly, highly recommended in that regard. Now, to kind of start summing this up, right? Where's this talk about my background, about what I mentioned, about some of the access barriers and some of the challenges we might face as women, but generally also as individuals? What can we deduct from that? I think that maybe we as women specifically, if I speak with my female acquaintances and friends, and definitely me myself, I was a massive person who's maybe almost suffered from the imposter syndrome. Am I good enough to join the industry without actual relevant experience, right? As someone who was trained as a lawyer and political scientist, and I've been also a bartender for many, many years. I haven't mentioned that. You saw the first image probably on that first slide of me where I was basically pouring a cocktail. I always worked while I was studying. So I have been an entrepreneur in the hospitality sector, and I was like, how can someone like me onboard the Web3 industry? Well, it turns out that you can very much do that. You can land a beautiful job despite the challenges, right? You can launch your own product, your company, if you have a good idea. And hell, you can even raise capital and build a global team. So if I can do it, in my opinion, you can do that too, right? With determination and with a bit of grit and maybe a little bit of luck as well from time to time. Now, long story short, before this is becoming too long, I would say that, of course, what we can expect is a steep learning curve, right? That you have to put yourself out there depending on what you're after. But two things that I fundamentally would like to highlight in conclusion is that, of course, networking is so, so important indeed, right? Basically what we're doing today, meeting everyone, talking about what we're after, but also fundamentally how we can work together and how we can help one another. Collaboration in Web3, as you know, it's so, so important, not only by helping others, but from time to time also asking advice and help to others. So how should we break down barriers? I think lots of different ways. Today's talk and today's event is one excellent way of doing so. And what I would finally like to mention, and then that's the last thing I will say for my talk here today, is that, of course, with Trilled Labs, you're very, very much welcome to check out Trilled, our free and open access networking app for the Web3 space specifically. But if you have to potentially look at least one thing, disregard Trilled, the networking app, but look at Ecstasy. That is our female Web3 business community that I and some others in our team, some ladies, try to set up and grow. And that is really a networking community where we try to hustle with one another, right? Where we try to help one another with business deals, with introductions, with just improving the level playing field for women in our industry. And of course, men are also very much welcome, specifically during the open access events that we're organizing from time to time, also on LinkedIn. Now, a lot can be said. I've spoken now for about 16 minutes. So yeah, thank you all so much for having been here to for the really nice hospitality. And I really appreciate it. Yeah, joining and looking forward to networking as well a little bit later. And thanks to the whole team. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra, for that incredible keynote and sharing your experiences with us. It's always inspiring to hear stories such as these, and we really do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. So to everybody else, I would say to be sure to check out Trilled Labs and see what they're doing in the crypto space, because you're going to love it. I've tried it and it's great. So, moving on, we go on to our panel discussion, Strategies for Women to Join Crypto Boards. This panel will be moderated by Vanessa Gilardi, the Global Head of People at MoonPay, and the panelists are Jason Tucker-Feltham, the Head of Sales at Zumo, and Eva Lawrence, Head of EMEA at Figment. So we're very excited to hear what we discussed. So Vanessa, feel free to take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience while we are dealing with a little technical issues. Hi, Jason. Hi, Eva.
Oh.
All right, I think we can kick off things. Thanks, Alexandra, for this really nice kickoff and energy, starting the room. So we're going to keep that energy high with this panel. I'm actually looking forward to moderate this fantastic panel. We have a very ambitious objective here, breaking barriers for more diversity and women into crypto boards. So I'm Vanessa Gilardi. I'm the global head of people at MoonPay. It's a crypto payment company. I'm based in London. And why we have chosen that topic, really it's in the C-enabled DNA to think about supporting more diverse people in the crypto space. But also there's so much that has happened over the past few years around discussion around diversity. But the truth of the matter is, and the stats don't lie, still to this date, there's only 5% of women crypto founders. 2 times of women are more likely to leave the crypto space within 2 years of working in the crypto space than men. And there's still underrepresentation when it comes to leadership position in the crypto space. But I don't want to leave you with these dire stats. I think there is more reason to hope than reason to not be succeeding, especially because I think one of the big points that will really help to support those more diverse stats is to think about the number of women entering the crypto space by being user of crypto, buying Bitcoins, going through crypto exchange and understanding the space. So based on that, what I want is to make sure that we understand who are our speaker today. And I would like to give them the challenge of introducing them within a minute, if they can. So Eva, maybe let's start with you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. My name's Eva. I'm the head of EMEA for Figment. We are the largest independent staking provider globally. Prior to working at Figment, I was COO for a Scandinavian crypto firm. I've been in this space now for 6.5, 7 years. And my original career started off in traditional finance. I was a equities finance trader. I ran the flow trading desk at Morgan Stanley for securities lending. Before I came over into crypto. Hopefully that was within my allotted time.
Perfect timing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason, head of sales at Zumo. So Zumo is a crypto as a service provider that obtained an FCA crypto registration in 2020. We're also a specialist provider of MiCA sustainability data, so that's of relevance to EU CASPs that have entities globally. started my career in the traditional finance industry, way back in 2008 at Lehman Brothers, and then shortly after worked at Deutsche Bank in New York and then London, and then several years at UniCredit, where I started my crypto journey from around 2018. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Jason. So I think from both of your intro, it seems very obvious that you didn't started fresh from the crypto industry. You actually had a background in kind of traditional finance and fintech before moving and transitioning into the crypto space. So I guess my first question will be, from starting in traditional finance and moving into the crypto space, what are the kind of challenges and opportunities you would highlight to newcomers to break into the crypto space? And maybe I'll start with you, Eva.
Yes, of course. So I would say, the challenges are that it can seem quite daunting, right? There are so many different topics, there's so many different areas, and no matter how many news articles you read, you always feel like you're behind on all the latest developments. And I would say that's a challenge that doesn't really change no matter how long you've been in the industry, and it's actually one of the benefits of the industry. The fact that it is exciting, it is always changing, or is always something new. So I'd say, it's not a bug, it's a feature. So don't be overwhelmed by the amount that's going on in the industry, the amount of news and changes that you see when you're reading about the crypto markets in general, and embrace that and understand that you're never going to complete crypto, right? You're not going to get to the final level and defeat the boss and then you can move on. But actually that will be something that as you look to grow in the space, that hopefully you actually enjoy. So I'd say, first of all, don't be off put by that. Secondly, I would say, that for any women looking to get into the space, there are lots of women in the industry. Maybe it's not obvious to begin with, but they are out there. We are here. We're proof of this, Vanessa. But reach out to women in the industry, connect with them, and they will be able to share with you that there are some great women in the industry, and so it's not completely as male dominated as maybe you might think, or the press or stats may make you feel like. And the benefit there is you have some very close network groups of people who are willing to help each other. And then finally, I would say, look at how your existing skills are transferable into the industry. Yes, some of the concepts are slightly different, but often your skills, whether it's soft skills or actually in relation to finance, or in relation to law, or in relation to tax and compliance, right? All of that is transferable. So I think I would also focus on what are the areas of skills, either hard or soft, that I had that are transferable in the industry, and what areas interest me.
Thanks, Eva. And I think it's so interesting because, like, in my field of work, I hear a lot of technical people wanting crypto native, right? It's kind of the easiest option. We have crypto, we transfer crypto. But Jason, you have now your own, company. So I guess you can take that independent kind of view of how you would advise also people to break into that space. So how would you respond to that?
So the parallel I like to draw between crypto and other industries is crypto goes beyond just these mythical tokens, these kind of like intangible transfers of value over the internet. It's more akin to the internet itself. So the internet has so many different, very exciting opportunities. You don't need to be incredibly specialized or technical to work at the likes of Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth. There are lots and lots of options if you're interested in those brands, and you may want to be involved in marketing, you may want to be involved in sales, or you may want to go down the technical route and become a developer, and so on and so forth. But the internet is almost like a platform for new ideas to be built and deployed. And crypto is no different. It's like almost like a new layer on the internet, and that new layer has new opportunities arising. It's just technology, but it's taken a different sort of flavor. It's taken a different sort of direction to what we standardize the internet to be. So there are so many interesting possibilities when looking at the blockchain and crypto industry, that it all sounds very technical, but when you look into what's out there, there are lots and lots of roles at blockchain crypto firms that are very, very similar to the types of roles you'd find at any other internet company. One of the most, one of the biggest leaps to be had in crypto is to try it out. And, many people have gone down the rabbit hole by just buying a bit of Bitcoin or opening up a crypto account, a crypto exchange account, and seeing what that does. And that's a real eye-opener. And that wow moment really does draw a lot of people to want to pursue a career in crypto. And so if we look at the percentage of owners of crypto, it's only roughly 30%. And it's only roughly 30% of women that make up the crypto workforce. So I think that's one of the first sort of stepping stones to getting a real appreciation as to what are the opportunities from this industry. It's by going ahead, doing a bit of research, and maybe buying some. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a technical kind of career when you go into crypto, although being technical, of course, does help.
Agreed. So if I summarize, don't get bogged down by the technical jargon. Go beyond that and test assess a bit of crypto coins. All right. Now I wanted to just bring back some piece of kind of very recent event that happened in the crypto space. I mean, there's, my God, so many things that has happened in the past few weeks, right? And then the US election as well. But I think the one piece of news, I think for me that was quite, symptomatic of what I hear when I speak to women leader is once after Token 2049 that happened back in September, there were a lot of debates sparked on X about some senior leader women publicly declaring that they will leave the crypto space because it's too hard, because they don't have the right support, because they don't feel that they have a backup. So I'd like to kind of open, the question to both of you about, do you think we do enough to attract, retain, and develop those senior women into that space? And if not, what can we do more of?
I mean, I think retention is a problem that is not just for the crypto industry. I think retention of women is across all industries. I would hope that, with the ability to say maybe have slightly more flexibility around our working day in Web3, that we would see more retention or a higher percentage of retention if you compared it to working in a bank, being in, working on it for an airline, or something where, being a GP, something where you can't have that flexibility, or it's a lot harder to have that flexibility. So I think that we have the possibility to really have great retention or a lot better retention. I think that maybe the lack of retention, or perhaps the way we struggle is around the C-suite and also the management teams, right? If your management teams are predominantly male, or C-suite teams predominantly male, you are not going to look at retention of women in the same way, or you're not going to be proactive on how your internal HR policies could impact your retention rates, as if you have a more diverse board, C-suite, management committee. So I think that that's perhaps where we've fallen down, and I hope it's something that's actually, quite easy to address, and we will address with time in the industry, because we should hopefully see that with all these companies with more diverse boards are more successful. So I think that's one thing. I think that the fact that we have the opportunity to be a bit more flexible actually sets us up as an industry for success. And I think that sometimes that's why some people do actually look at the industry in general. Perhaps they have taken a career break. Perhaps they did previously work in law or in accounting or in tax, and they've now decided to come back in the industry. And I have heard lots of stories of people coming back into crypto and making this their specialism. So I'd also encourage that aspect, because if you can come in with a bit more flexibility than, say, a previous role, that's something that you should be looking at, and that you should be seeing what the opportunities are. So I really think that it's the potential for us as an industry to do really well. So I hope that begins to evolve and change.
Thank you, Eva. Jason, do you have any points on that?
I think also, firms need to foster a culture which is open to listening to women. Women should feel, they shouldn't fear asking for things in an organization, in particular, where they feel as though asking for those things could set them back in their career. So there needs to be, from the senior leadership, the board, the C-suite, a sense of, let people come to us with their wants and their needs, and make it very, very clear that people are not punished for requesting these things. I think there does need to be an open sounding board for any employee to go to leadership with the request that allow them to feel as though they've got enough sufficient flexibility in order to navigate their career at a firm. And that creates, a stickiness in the firm that allows people to feel as though they can have a full, very, very good career at one firm, as opposed to maybe taking a break from that firm before they go elsewhere. So by creating that sort of awareness of the needs to be open and listening to employee concerns, I think that really is beneficial. Large organizations often, have certain policies and so on in place, and many crypto firms are quite small. And so I think these finer details can sometimes get missed. And so I think that's a crucial element that shouldn't be discounted.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not because you're not a big organization that you lack of opportunities to offer other things that could be as impactful as an employee that it would be in a big firm. And I think sometimes creativity is there to help you and guide you with things that are important for people who are being asked to do much more in small organization, right? I think drawing on that, because panel speaking events, they are great to actually evoke awareness on a number of things, debating on things that are prevalent specifically in this industry. But what I would love is to close this panel with kind of golden nuggets, bullet points of practical initiatives or thoughts that people in this audience can take in their own time with their company to try to help raising awareness on that. So I would ask both of you to give 2-3 bullet points of practical ideas and opinions that people can take away after this panel.
I mean, one key thing is meeting people. I think this is crucial. This is one thing that the crypto industry does a great job. It organizes so many meetups, so many events, and the big exchanges and the big staking providers and so on and so forth. They all organize things, and this is a great way to get a feel for who is working in these firms, what are the opportunities, and what could my position be in one of these firms. If you can kind of imagine where you want to go, it's easier to pave a path to get there. But the other thing is, if you manage to make a friend in crypto, or you meet someone in crypto that you think are, very knowledgeable or pursue a lot of experience, ask them to become a mentor. If you can get a bit of a feel as to what it takes to really make it, not only enter the crypto industry, but to rise up the ranks and achieve, the highest positions at some of these organizations, then, it makes it somewhat a bit more straightforward to go ahead and be a success in crypto. But it all boils down to meeting people, connecting with people, and leveraging those relationships and taking next steps from there.
Thank you, Jason. Eva.
And I would focus on three things. The first being always look at kind of stepping outside your comfort zone. And now that can refer to you personally or your company. So what is it that I'm not sure if I can, a project I can take on, but I'm not sure if I can take it on, if I'm not sure if I can do it, take on that project. If you think, oh well, we've never looked at X as a company, why not? Is that something I should look into? Yes, do that, look into that. Even if you don't continue on with it, at least make that first step. Whether it could also be, the firms that you speak to, you reach out to. If you're looking at particular roles, always step outside of your comfort zone. So that'll be the first thing. The second would be to always support other women. So this applies to men and women, right, equally. So look at how you can be an advocate for women in your industry, whether you're a woman or not. And that both goes internally, externally, in and out of crypto, people coming into the industry. Look how you can be an advocate. And I think everyone can do that. And it's a very easy step. And I think as soon as you start also looking out for those advocates, you'll see them even more. And you'll see them as soon as you also start leading with that example. And then finally, I would always look to level up in any way I could, whether it's learning about something new. What is it that I've been interested in, but I've never learned about? How can I level up myself, both personally and professionally, in terms of my CV? And that will always, help you get recognized to go to the next step. And I think that it's not just about taking on a particular task, but it can be about dealing with a tough challenge, a pain point internally, or it can be improving on skills where you feel like you haven't been able to address them, soft or hard skills. So I would look at that as the third option. Third thing to look at. How can I level up? What else can I do?
Amazing. So your network is your net worth. Challenging
Exactly.
Saying yes, and not being afraid of taking new challenges. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much both. I hope this was, very useful for the audience. We're here for questions. We're not disappearing. You can link us up on LinkedIn. Anything you need after this session will remain very open to discuss that with you. So thank you very much. Daniel, up to you.
Thank you all for that fantastic panel discussion. So many great points raised and important topics brought up. And I think it just shows why it's so vital that we keep having these kinds of conversations so we can actively try to find solutions. So really inspiring stuff. And we do really appreciate you all being with us today. So thank you, Vanessa, Jason, and Eva. Thank you. So our next and final talk is Women in Crypto, What's Next? And our speaker is Lisa Cameron, the former MP, who will outline her work with the APPG and the Rose Review to promote diversity and inclusion in fintech, how this will support aspirations of UN Sustainable Development Goals, including financial inclusion, and many more vital topics. So please, Lisa, if you'd like to take it away.
Hi, thank you everybody for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be with you. And apart from being kind of chucked out of the meeting digitally a few times during today's session, it's been wonderful to hear everybody else's contribution, and hopefully the digital part will work considering we're all here to engage regarding the digital revolution that's ongoing globally for everyone in the workplace. So I'm Dr. Lisa Cameron. I was an MP in the UK Parliament between 2015 and 2024. Just finished up earlier this year. And during that time, I had the real privilege to chair two important groups for the work that you're speaking about today. The first is the all-party parliamentary group on cryptocurrency and digital assets. Yes, so the very first group of its kind, and a woman leading it up in the UK Parliament, so another first. It was such a great pleasure to do that, to engage with industry, to understand some of the challenges of industry, to realise that inclusion and diversity is an ongoing challenge for industry. It's actually an ongoing challenge also for traditional finance, as we know. I was very, very fortunate to be involved in another group in the Parliament to chair the inclusive entrepreneurship group and to be looking with members of the House of Lords and House of Commons about how to implement the Rose Review through the inclusive entrepreneurship work that I was doing, and to see that in traditional finance, yes, as well, and in entrepreneurship, that women are often underrepresented, but actually the research itself shows that where companies recruit women, particularly at executive level, on their boards, and are gender diverse, that it's not just the right thing to do, it also makes business sense, and that outcomes show they're at least 21% more likely to outperform peers on profitability too. So for large companies, I think, this is a real issue. Also for smaller firms, research indicates that there can be increases in performance of 17%. So it's not just something government is asking people to do. Government's not just being very altruistic in that sense. Government's thinking about adding value to the economy as well, and how that can be benefited too. And certainly by having diversity at board level and throughout companies, we know that it makes organisations much more reflective of society in general, and that in itself is a very good thing, because it means that we can make sure that we add value across society. I'm just welcoming my daughter back from school as well, too, in the background. So what I want to speak about today was why I think this is a continued ongoing issue, and why we need to engage at the highest level with industry and across industry to make sure that it reflects best practice. Even just a few months ago, I've been at a number of conferences this year, and a few months ago I appeared at a conference, was one of the very few women in the audience even, and certainly on a panel, had no moderators who were women, and then was invited to a women's breakfast where only 3 women were actually in attendance, and no one from the conference itself turned up to ask to see what we were speaking about or how we could contribute to the benefit of the conference overall. Now that's probably quite out of the ordinary now for most sectors, but it was something that just became very stark to me when I had the experience. And I thought, yes, we must really harness this industry, because this is a very important industry. It's very important not just for today's jobs and skills that we're trying to create in our diverse economic centres across the UK and globally, but it's also for tomorrow's young people coming up into the jobs that are going to be very important, and the skills of the future. And as a mother of 2 girls myself, I think it's very, very important that we all work together to make sure that industry reflects society, and that diversity and inclusion is at the core of what we do. The industry, I think itself, and having a great privilege to be part of it for the last 3 years within Parliament, It's an industry that I think is amazing. It's changing our lives in finance, in tokenization, in real world assets, in arts and culture and sport. And so, of course, across all of those domains and so many more, women, men, diverse people from diverse backgrounds, people with disabilities, must be involved and included in order to shape the Web3 and the other aspects, I think, of blockchain technology that's coming to the fore, how our records will be reshaped for the future. So many challenges we face, and we can only do that well together. So for government to take seriously the industry, for the industry to make the best case economically, and also become much more mainstream, these challenges, I think, must be raised awareness of, but also in terms of addressing them together and collectively across industry and with support from others. It's been so helpful to hear about mentoring today as one of the key issues. And in the Parliament, we actually organised to help mentor 150 children from disadvantaged backgrounds as MPs. And actually, the people who are being mentored taught us so much as well. And I think that's always a two-way learning experience and positive benefit. So this industry in itself is going to create economic growth. It's very important for the digital economy of the future. It's extremely important for the jobs of the future, for our children's benefit, as well as for those of today's jobs and upskilling of people crossing into the industry from others. And I think, not to undersell it, it can actually also make a fantastic contribution to financial inclusion globally. And help us to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals of leaving no one behind. But really, we can only do that together and collectively within this industry if the industry itself is diverse and inclusive. So I want you to take that away as my message today, that this industry is going to be scaling mountains. In fact, the sky is the limit for the technology that we're going to be seeing and the changes in our lives for the future. But it's very, very important that we do that in a way that includes everybody, reflects society, and makes sure that at all levels of our organisation, we can help everyone achieve their potential. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being with us today. I'm Martyna and I'm a research associate and part of the events team with CEnable. And it's truly been a pleasure and privilege to have you all join us. First, let's extend a huge thank you to our speakers, Alexandra, Jason, Eva, Vanessa, and Lisa. Your insights and experiences have brought invaluable guidance and inspiration to us all, shedding light on the pathways, challenges, and opportunities for women in leadership within the crypto industry. From Alexandra's opening remarks on breaking down barriers to Lisa's thoughts on sustainable leadership in dynamic markets, each of you has enriched our understanding and sparked important conversations. Thank you as well to our audience for your participation and engagement. Your presence here shows just how many people are committed to advancing diversity and inclusion in this field. And we are so very excited about the potential connections and ideas this event has helped inspire. I'd also like to thank you, our incredible events team who made this gathering possible. Your hard work behind the scenes has made today seamless, impactful, and engaging for everyone involved. As we wrap up, let's carry forward the discussions we've had today with a shared commitment to increasing representation and accessibility in the crypto industry. Our call to action for each of you is to keep learning, networking, and advocating for change within your own spheres. Together, we're moving closer to a more inclusive future. Looking ahead, we're thrilled to continue building momentum with more events and initiatives in the new year. Please stay tuned for what's to come. We can't wait to share new opportunities for you to connect, learn, and advance your careers with us. Feel free to follow and connect with the panelists and other attendees via LinkedIn to continue with the topics discussed today, to network, and whatever your heart's desire. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.